Alrighty then. So, without further ado, hey everybody, that this is Ninja Spence 21, part of Team Bonus Action, and that we are doing interview number 4 of TBA members, and then that this time that we have we have one of the Lafayette crew. So basically, just like let me allow y'all to introduce yourselves to Knox. Say hey to everybody, Knox.
Sup?
All right, and so then that as just from like the previous format of just these interviews, that it's going to be about anywhere between 14 and then 15 questions. So it's going to be about 40 to 60 minutes of your time. So it's not going to be that long. So let's just go ahead and then get this first one out of the way. What got you interested in the tabletop role playing hobby and community? And also, please tell me a little bit about yourself.
What got me interested in tabletop was hearing about the existence of tabletop. Um, it's I was told about it. I think it was in high school. Someone started a tangential friend started talking about him and his friends playing D&D, and I kind of started looking into it and didn't have anybody to play with because I didn't have anybody to play with. So it just kind of stayed there in the back of my head until, and it was always there. At some point, I bought the 3-5 core books and never did anything with them. And then ended up getting into a one session game at one of the local shops at the time. Uh, it was a 3-5 game. I ended up playing an elf druid, which was pretty cool. And then just kind of fell off and never continued. That game just kind of fell apart after the first session, and then it was about 14 years ago. Uh, I was working for I was working for Cox, the telecom company, and needed something to listen to during the day, and came across a podcast called Critical Hit,
Mm,
based off the Major Spoilers podcast network. Um, and it's a it was a 4E live, like real play podcast, and listened to it and started started listening to that religiously, and then ended up giving me a thumb drive with all of the resource books for 4E, because fifth had just come out at that time, and we got a small group together here at the house, and started, and obviously it's like, no, I'm gonna do this. I want to do this. I'm gonna do this. So I forced four of my friends to sit down and play with us. Moose was one of them, and we played for we played a campaign, one of the canned campaigns, like the main 4E canned campaigns, uh, for 2.5 3 years, and then kind of fell off for a little while. Moose and I both changed jobs, so that kind of threw kind of a monkey wrench into it for a while, and then got and then found and then came across, and then, like a lot of people, came across Critical Role, and listening to, through context clues, figuring out how fifth edition worked as opposed to fourth edition. Unlike most people, I have no problem with fourth edition. However, fifth edition is more of a truer style to third edition and before, kind of, as far as the mechanics go. So we started put stuff together, and we started playing games, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. And I got asked if I wanted to play in a Roll20 game, and here I am, like 5 years later.
and that is amazing. That it is funny that you always say that critical hit is your gateway drug because that was sort of mine's too at the time. And then that, just as you said, then it basically translate over to critical role. So second question would be, if you have created a homebrew world, then could you briefly describe your world?
Yeah, you have in fact played in it. It is Karsus. It is the world of the wheel. Uh, there are no gods. There's still divine magic. There paladins and clerics and everything else is still there, but the gods themselves have left left a long time ago, and so long ago that no one can remember their names. And without that, there was a bit of chaos that reigned, and large mercenary companies kind of stepped in as in that vacuum of there not really being a deity centric church. Power abhors a vacuum, and mercenary companies kind of stepped in as those big, a lot of times familial organizations, and that is the that's what I'm currently working on right now. I have I'm currently doing a bit more world building. I'm rolling a bunch of locations from previous campaigns and games, like the Extra Life game that we did, and then my previous campaign is also going to have been set in that world, uh, and just pulling in towns and locations and NPCs from there to to fill it out. And I'm hoping to I'm hoping to have a bit. Just need a little bit more information on a couple of the small areas around where y'all were and my home team was, because y'all were there at the same it's there at the same time, doing different things at the same time, and to be able to continue on. And I'm I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean that from just like that the extra life game that we had played in, and playing just that was my first time ever playing like a wildfire druid, and then I think that that we had handled that situation pretty well. That the world itself seemed kind of like very very interesting with just that it kind of like with just this materialistic, kind of just like meritocracy system that I had kind of picked up from it. But it was a pretty nice world for the most part.
I appreciate it. And
All right.
I hadn't done anything to it. It literally just came up with the single town just for that game, and building a world around that, which is it is what it is. I'm pretty. I like to think I'm pretty good on my feet when it comes to improv.
Alrighty then. So then that is a very good answer. The next question is that what is your role in team bonus action for the most part?
Nah. Uh, I am. I am a player. I am a DM. And I am comic relief. I Oh, and also I say don't let your meatloaf at the end of stuff. So that is predominantly my role that I've fallen into. Player in I've been playing since the beginning. Uh, and uh, Forbidden Sands, Holy Winds, uh, Lost Seas, every extra life. I have I've been around since the beginning. I've run a few games. I at some point once I have enough information to be comfortable in doing it, and once I figure out how the hell to import things into Roll20 the proper way and learn how to use it, then I actually would would like to start a wheel campaign for TBA, even if it is a monthly thing, just to have something to just to help fill out the world, honestly. Uh, but yeah, and then I take things not seriously at all, and I say don't let you meatloaf. So that's me.
So where in the world did that phrase "don't let your meatloaf" originate from? Because I don't think that for just our new viewers and then for just some of the old ones here, that where in the world did that come from exactly?
A, a buddy of mine in high school who is just just silly in general. Uh, and he loud, boisterous, and just completely silly. Like never took any when he took things seriously, he didn't take them seriously. So that it was just something that he came up with at some point, and it's always stuck with me. So that just I just kept on. I just it popped out one night after it popped out at the end of one night, and it's just kind of stuck.
That is a very interesting story. I mean, then that you got to just think about some of those old high school and college friends that they might say one thing and then that you will remember that for just the rest of your life. That's a very good answer. All right, and next question is as a part of those who have founded our team during our first charity live stream event, do you ever see team bonus action growing into something larger? In what ways do you wish to improve your role or the team as a whole?
As far as getting larger, um, I think we're taking steps to do that. Um, the I think our best I think the best way for us to do that is to not focus on it. Honestly, kind of it's kind of weird. It just to do what we do consistently, and every now and then, if something needs to be addressed or upgraded, then do it. And as long as we're consistent, we will. As long as we're having fun, it, regardless on what happens. I mean, we're all people. We all have jobs, and we all are independent people. While it would be great to be able to go, hey, I'm to be to the level of a Dimension 20 or Acquisitions Incorporated or Critical Role. I it, I'm a realist, and I know that unless we catch lightning in a bottle hard, then it's probably not going to happen. But if we keep doing what we're doing, then maybe people will watch us and enjoy it. And that's honestly all that really matters to me, is that what we put out there is entertaining.
All right, very good answer. And then I definitely do agree with the whole that the more consistent you are, that the better things will be. That is a very good answer. All right, and next question is how would you describe your game mastering style?
Chaos, improv, and holy crap, what the hell is that? That I I sometimes I'll have bullet points. Um, I'll have ideas for I'll have encounters kind of mapped out on the fights and everything else that are happening, because I'm a minis guy, so I like to have things to hand. I like to know what I'm going to be using to have things to hand. Um, One of the upsides of the currently how both games of the wheel are playing out is that the other guys are that the pretty much all the bad guys are an antagonistic force directly towards the parties, and it's another mercenary company. So I just have a bunch of different types of dudes painted up in the same color scheme as each other, so that I have my counters are based off of what I have available for the table. And yes, you can use whatever you want as a miniature. And I have we have done foam core with standard printer paper maps printed out with push. I've used push pins um, as my monsters in my party. I use black ones for the enemies and colored ones for the party, all the way up to uh, Privateer Press and Games Workshops minis that I spent hours painting for for my games. I don't care. I've all the way down to theater of the mind. Like, all right, we're just gonna roll with it. So I like to have my encounters planned out, just so that I know what minis I'm going to use and have them available. That way, it doesn't take me long. And simply because, and I'm not like super anal retentive about it. I just want to have everything to hand. That way, I don't slow the game down. Going, okay, let me go grab my minis and stuff like that. I want to have them I want to have each encounter essentially in a box that I can just drop down on the table, open up, and throw on the table, and we can go. So, aside from that, I I do not see myself as a DM as a referee. I see myself as a reactive storyteller, and I this is what happened. This is what's going on. This is where you're at. This is what y'all are doing. What are you doing now? Moving on and going from there. And it's just a matter of I do a lot of improv. There's a unless it's an important fight, I don't even have I don't even typically use. A lot of times I don't use stat blocks for monsters, which is kind of a weird thing. I have an idea on, like, I'll do my research and see how many hit points this type of monster has, or a monster that has the abilities that I want this particular character to use, and see what the abilities are, see what the saving throws are, see what their attack bonuses is, and then kind of guesstimate the hit points. I really don't super track, and I'll keep track of hit points just so that I can know when they hit thresholds. But aside from that, when it's the battle's going to flow the way the battle's going to flow, the way it makes sense. And if you do 75 damage to a character to an enemy at level 3, I don't care that the guy has 7 hit points. The enemy has 7 hit points left. No, dude, you did 75 damage to one. No, he dead. He dead. Like, mama don't, like, closed casket dead. You like it's thematic, and it puts more power, and it puts a little bit more power into the player's hands. Now, the up as a DM, as a and as an agent of chaos, that does work in the opposite direction as well. When in a crucial moment, when the smoke clears and he's still standing there, that also comes into play. So I'm a very, very improv. Let my players tell the story, and then I am the reference for the world, not the antagonistic force.
That's a very good answer. I mean, then that, from just like we have read on like online forums and stuff that, that you have like these min-max or DMs that would just be trying to basically make it just a slog fest, just basically try to kill their players and stuff. And then that, to me, that's not what D&D is about, because then that I am much similar, just like you, as just basically that storyteller DM, also with just a wee bits of chaos, just thanks to our newest DM that she is trying to make me become utterly chaos, which I am okay with.
No, that's the thing. That's the game, though.
Mm-hmm.
You can absolutely do that. You can have, if you were in a situation. Here's my thought process on as far as min maxing goes. On the player side, okay, go for it. It's cool. Like the battle royal that from Extra Life, when Kaloum just started just running amok. Yeah, he's a min max. That is a min max character. The premise of min max is you maximize what the character does well, and the thing about min maxing is, yes, there's max. There is also a min, And if you catch it, and if you can exploit that side of it, then that character is garbage. If you put a min-maxed melee fighter into a wisdom, intelligence, or charisma, depending on what their dump stat was, situation, they're boned. Like if you put a min-maxed barbarian into a fight with an incorporeal creature, he dead. On the DM side, like being that min-maxer and playing the DM against the party is 100% a viable thing, as long as everybody that sits down at the table knows that.
Valid
I
point.
am not going to take Emily and put her down and sit her down at a table with a as playing a power DM with a bunch of power gamers, because she's not going to have fun. And her not having fun is going to make the other people not have fun, because if they're all min-maxed and she's not, she's slowing the game down. So she's frustrated because she's not getting to do the cool things that she wants to do because they're not working. And everyone else at the table is frustrated because they're not doing the cool things that they want to do because she's behind them. As long you have to be able to read your table, and you know what kind of thing those people want. I run a really narrative game with some pretty intense fights. I have people at my table who really enjoy the narrative parts, and not really all that great on the fighting. Some people who are really up on the fighting and not really great on the social aspects of it. I've got multiple types of those people in my party. I throw both at them, and when they're not engaged with what's going on, they're typically engaged with each other. A lot of times trying to figure out what they're going to do next. So being able to read your table is something that is key. You have to know what is going to, and knowing how far you can push your players before they disengage. Because if I don't like the narrative stuff, 3 sessions of shopping is going to kill me, and I'm going to disengage. But a session of shopping, and then a good fight afterwards. All right, I'm gonna kind of fade into the I'm gonna kind of just fade into the background and let everybody else that likes to role play. And when the fight comes, I'm there. I'm just gonna kind of pay attention for key points, and then when the fight comes, I'm there. So, knowing how to read your table and knowing that threshold of when to engage what players is super important.
All right, very good. Very, very good bonus tip on that. All right, and next question would be: you had mentioned earlier that you have a homebrew world. Have you ever dabbled in creating your own races, classes, subclasses, etc.?
Nope, I'm garbage at mechanics.
Is that the plain and simple answer?
That is the detailed answer. I am dog shit at mechanics. At keeping things. Now, I say that the last game that I played, my home party group, after y'all got away, they went back to y'all cut out through the woods. They went back to town. They were cornered by the bad guy, and he dropped off a it's a light warjack from War Machine, and just on the fly, on the fly, he had a crystal on the top of his head that powers him, and he would do essentially, after a certain amount of turns, he would basically use fireball, a smaller fireball. I guess a 10-foot radius instead of a 20-foot radius. But the damage that fireball did was split evenly between all damage types that it had received. So things like that, yeah. But as far as like bonuses to like races and stuff like that, there are enough on paper that if you want to, if you tell me that you want to be if you want to be a tabaxi, but you want to take but you want to the benefits of being a tabaxi, like the dark vision, the speed, and everything else, but you want to take, but you want the stat bumps from a half orc because you're basing your tabaxi off of a Maine Coon. I'm more than likely I'm going to say, okay, well, instead of 10 extra feet of movement, you get 5. But yes, I, I, I will. I'm not going to make custom classes and custom races, but I will work with my players to customize what is already there. And I just, I'm just bad in creating mechanics. I like to think that I'm pretty good at altering them, at altering existing ones, but as for coming up with them, that's not my bag.
I mean, then that then that you do bring up a fair point, Knox, in that because then that it's basically whenever that you alter a mechanic. Just say, for example, tieflings. That I always like to homebrew that tieflings like to you that that they have innate casting of disguise self equal to that the number of their charisma modifier, and then that to me that's one of my most favorite spells. So not just like you are not necessarily like creating your own that your own class or anything that that altering mechanics and stuff that still shows qualities of a very good DM, which that you should that all DMs should be listening to their players. Wouldn't you agree on that?
Oh, absolutely. And then that's like what is it? I think it's Mordenkainen. It's been going off, kind of jumping off of tieflings. I think it's Mordenkainen that
Mm-hmm.
goes in and expands and gives you tiefling variants based off of pretty much every archdemon. That's just versatility in and of itself. Variant humans, it's versatility in and of itself. Uh, the between the two books, I think it's Mordenkainen's again that give
Mm-hmm.
us the Eladrin and the Shadar Kai. Now pretty much all of the elves are available. Um, they're your versatility is there, and if, like I said, changing one or two things, just kind of flavoring or changing one or two things, eh, that's easy enough. I've never had cause or reason to create my own races. Pretty much everything else I can either adapt or just reskin. Uh, I mean, at that point, we get there are Tabaxi, which are cat people. There are Aarakocra, which are bird people. If somebody wants to play a dog person, okay, well, just do a half orc, and you have do a half orc with a bite attack. Done.
Yeah. Or else just even just like give them just basically perception check advantages based on things that smell, because dogs are
All
like
right,
that. But
like to give them the lycanthrope or just the wolf abilities, like the passive abilities, and
mhm.
go from there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Very good conversation on that point. All right, and next question is that what are your inspirations for the games and content you create, and could you elaborate on your research process when regarding a game?
ADD, 100%. I will be doing something else and go, you know what would be cool, and then I don't write it down, and then I forget it for 3 months, and then I decide I'm just gonna kind of work on a little bit of world building, and then it pops up, and I go, oh yeah, and I put it and I make a note and I stick it in the folder. I, Chaos and ADD, and just I will see things and I will go on, and in my head I will go on down deep rabbit holes and create amazing backstories and histories and characters, and it's like, okay, I need to write those down, and then I don't. And then if I remember when I'm actually in front of my computer or in a situation where I can, then I will go ahead and put down what I know and try to keep it as concise as possible. And then at once I'm sitting down in front, then it's a matter of, okay, this is what I have in my head. Where can I put this in my world where it fits? Um, and I'll just I'll pick an area. Well, this place is basically built into the carved out of the foothills of a mountain, and butts up completely up against the mountain. All right, where on this map is there mountains? Okay, right here. How close is this to the ocean? Because they may have a port. Oh, there's ocean cliffs right here in this kind of area. Cool. This is where this goes, and then I will change my world accordingly.
All right, very, very, very interesting about that. Okay, then. So that this one is going to probably be a bit of a long question. So bear with me. Uh, with the growing popularity that Dungeons and Dragons have generated in mainstream media and is viewed as quote unquote cool now, not to discount the critical success of those professional Dungeons and Dragons web shows that paved the way for the smaller groups of the tabletop RPG community. How do you feel that these spikes in popularity have either helped or harmed the hobby?
Uh, they have helped, and I want to make sure that everybody hears this, that has issues with 5e. It helps because more people are playing the game, so Hasbro is making more money, so they give more money to Dungeons and Dragons, so we get more stuff. It's that simple. I I don't care who plays my game, as long as I get to play my game. The more people that play my game, the same thing goes with video games and board games. The more people that play my game means the people that make my game get more money to put back into my game. If you have an issue with something, oh well, 5e is this and 5e is that, then cool, see yourself out. I can legitimately stand in the food court of the mall and go, "Hi, my name is Knox. I'm a DM who wants to learn Dungeons and Dragons," and probably have to start turning people away at this point. There are how many sources? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 6. I have 16 source books sitting over my head right now. 2 of them are third party, and the rest of them are all Wizards books. Do you think we would have gotten, if 5e wasn't as popular because of all this stuff? Do you think we would have gotten Fizzban's Tome of Dragons? No, we weren't going to get Fizzban's. We weren't going to get a we weren't going to get a Return to Ravnica source book for Magic the Gathering. We got stuff. As far as the downside, in general, from what I'm seeing, especially online in like the social spheres, you're getting things like Opalgate, which, bruh, not even gonna. You also get a lot more a lot more people who bitch, moan, and complain about things that they don't like about the game. And ultimately, you get more people that I would legitimately just say, okay, then leave. So short TLDR, upside, we get more stuff. Downside, there are more assholes. Which, when things get popular, the old guard are for whatever reason, the old guard always we talked about this before stream with Book of Boba Fett. When old things get popular again and start getting new content, the old heads want to complain. My thought process on it is shut up, sit down, enjoy the ride. If you don't, then don't consume. Period. Like it or leave. If you leave, no skin off your back. You can go back to what you like about it. Just don't aggravate me with your negativity while I'm trying to do stuff.
Right. And then that it was something on Twitter that, that I forget the person's name, but then he was like a buff Asian person who is a DM, and then he was getting some kind of like backlash because then he's not your stereotypical DM. And me personally, I am not your stereotypical DM because that I am a person of color. But to me, but to me, regardless, it's basically if that your DM listens to your players, does things correctly to that the best of their abilities, and such that it really shouldn't matter, because that all of the people from what I have seen, it has always been like gatekeeping and stuff like that. But luckily all of the communities that I have been interacting with, that they have been nothing but just supporting.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to more that hipster mentality of, oh, I liked it before it was cool. That's nice. Now a whole lot more people get to enjoy. You liked it before it was cool, which means you love this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Why does it matter if my wife has found out that she likes this thing because she was never involved in it? She was never exposed to it to begin with. I mean, ultimately, that's what it boils down to. Hey, you you are feeling persecuted because you fell in love with this thing 25 years ago. Okay, I was never really exposed to D&D 30 years ago. My my kid is 7. She's grown up with this stuff. She's been exposed to it. My wife, she didn't grow up in an environment that was conducive to tabletop role playing games. So she now loves it. So what you're saying is, I wish that when you say when you are in the camp of older was better, I don't like these new people coming in. What you're saying is that I wish other people hadn't found something that they like because I like to be alone. And I don't understand that. And I will, and if I do end up in a serious conversation about that, I don't care about your feelings. I will laugh in your face.
I mean that is true. I mean, then that it just goes back to that the old like YouTube mantra of basically if that you don't eat, not that if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it, people. But anyway, then next question, because then we can go on for a whole hour about this topic. What are some of the long term goals for Team Bonus Action that you specifically would like to see accomplished?
Um, More get-togethers, honestly. More physical meetups where the outliers like us get to go up there, and hopefully at some point in the next 3 to 5 years, actually have the opportunity for y'all to come down here. Um, I know it's kind of a logistical thing considering the fact that there are like 9 of y'all and five and like 4 of us. But it'd be a nice change of pace to get everybody down here. Like I legitimately just more more physical meetups for gaming. I am still working on getting plotting out dates and stuff for potentially a spring get together. Not necessarily so much for to stream. If we do, that's fine. But if just everybody get together and we play board games and hang out kind of thing. That's what I enjoy. I mean, aside from actually playing the games, that's the big thing that I look forward to. It's the reason why I look forward to Extra Life every year. It's the ability to go up and hang out with everybody and see people that I haven't seen in a year and have things happen like Canon actually showing up last year, which was awesome. Um, so yeah, that's the actual the camaraderie and the getting together and the actual physically getting together is the thing that I'm is the more the more popular we become, the more viable that becomes as and more justifiable it becomes for us to go up and hang out and eat food and stuff.
Yeah, that is true because that with just all of us that know how to cook, I don't think that nobody would ever go hungry. I mean that like ever.
Oh no, I plan on bringing when we come, I plan on bringing there's a slaughterhouse down here that lets you can buy like like 10 pounds of sausage, and
Mm.
their smoked sausage and their fresh sausage is amazing, and I plan on bringing 10 pounds of each up there when we come next time.
That's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. All right, and next question is name your favorite character of all time that you have played. That this character can be from any game you have been in.
Hmm. I hmm. Probably Avi. Avi is now th- me saying Avi is legitimately cheating. There have been a minimum of 5 different incarnations of Abby the Rat. Last year's Extra Life, he was a robot. Uh, but Abby is just, especially like Lost Seas Abby is just he's all about just living life to the fullest and making sure that his people get out okay. Um, I think second to that would have to be Tark from the first game. Uh, just because it's the first time that it's the first time I played a character from start to from one to from basically from 3 to 20. Um, and I made some mistakes with him building him, but it all rolled into the type of person that he was, and it all worked. And his attitude was very apathetic and very pragmatic. And yes, yes, we killed you. We're trying to kill you, but I think about it like this: we didn't, so we're just gonna go now. That kind of thing. Uh, he he's just apathetic and done with everything. Like just done with the world. It's like, all right, fine, whatever, let's go. Abby is very smarmy and there. Oh yeah, there's no. Oh yeah, this is a great plan. Great. There is no possible way that this is going to end badly. Let's do it. And of course, it's going to end badly, um, which has caused very strange things to happen to Avi and his friends. Tune in the last Monday of the month to see what. And then my current character of Mulan is he's a different kind of character that I've ever played before. He's very snarky and kind of full of himself, but kind of not. Everything that he does seems like he doesn't care, but ultimately he does. It's just that's just the way he is. So my favorite's got to be Abby because I pull Abby out most everywhere. And now that I think about it, probably tied with Abby is going to be Bangalore the Goblin with a shotgun because he's just down for anything and he doesn't care. He's just happy to be there.
Oh, that's very good. I mean, then from just basically from just like that the game that we played up in like Extra Life, Avi seemed pretty cool, and then I think then that that I just do think that he would be a very good player. I mean, a very good PC to basically have at like at just like one of my tables or something eventually. But anyway, next question is, how do you view yourself with the hobby in the next 5 years?
If I'm lucky, running my game, uh, getting my in about in approximately in between 2 and 3 years from now, we plan on building a house. And D&D is legitimately a design concern. Like the actually having a kind of an open enough space that's out of the way that's not taking up the majority of the living area. Like having a dedicated gaming area is legitimately a design choice for us that we are putting into the blueprints for this house. So having everything within relatively ease of use to be able to grab to be able just to hey, y'all want to play? Yeah, cool. Everybody sit around the table. Your books are right there. Let's go. Uh, that is that is my biggest goal for the next 5 years is to have that is to be in the new house with an area that is dedicated to hey, y'all want to play, y'all want to pick up where we left off, cool. Let me pull this section, let me pull this cover off the top portion off of the table and the map is still there along with everybody's binders and dice and now we can just pick up and keep going. That's my biggest goal.
All right, fair enough. I mean, then that I know as soon as I eventually get a house and I want to do the same thing and stuff, and then it's going to be just a mix of just a game slash stream art room type of dealio. But anyway, next question is that what would be a dream collab that you would like to be a guest or be part of from of the more famous tabletop RPG communities?
A Taliesin Jaffe Call of Cthulhu game.
Oh, explain. How
Point.
would you like this to be?
I don't care. A Taliesin Jaffe Call of Cthulhu game. Point blank. Period. That or I mean, legitimately, any game with Mercer on either side of the screen. Ultimate superhero goals, like Super Wish. Play at least. I would like to say like 3 to 5 sessions of Joe Manganiello's home game. And to have a DM vendetta, to have a DM vendetta against Abby the Rat by Chris Perkins. That pretty much have Abby show up. I want I want Avi and Beetle and Matthew Lillard's Beetle to go on a pub crawl together DM'd by Chris Perkins, in which they both end up dying because of the ridiculousness. That's what I want. That's the that see that's the kind of thing I want. Those are yeah that
Those are very good dream collabs. I mean, that it is the dream for all of us. Alrighty then. Final question: if you can improve team bonus action in any method that you had a genie with just a wish spell or whatever, then how
everybody
would you
moves
make
to
those
Lafayette.
changes? Oh,
Yeah, that one's been in the chamber for a while. Yeah, everybody, and I say that, but the ability for everyone to be close enough to do for more in person stuff, and it's not just good. I would like to see my friends more than once a year. Um, like I want to like I'm seeing all this goddamn food that Spence is making for End of the Woods and shit, and it's like I like food. I'm fat Cajun man. I like food. Like I got like we found like actually going to the slaughterhouse and getting the sausage and going like, dude, this is like I want to bring this up there to them so that they can eat it. Um, and stuff like that. That being it being easier for us all to get together. Ultimately, that's the wish. Is like, hey, let's let's swap Opelousas and Monroe. Done. So that so that now so that now Opelousas is a 4 hour drive, and I ain't never got to deal with that and them again. And Monroe is a 20-minute drive, and all is right with the world.
yeah, that is a very good answer, and then that I think then that that maybe that if that we can try to get some of those logistics out for like some of the Lafayette crew for y'all to do some of y'all's own like in person streams or so. I think then that I just think then that that'd be a good back pocket tip to also have as well too.
Oh yeah, and that is on the slate now. It's pretty far down on it. Uh, but that being available in my location, especially after we built the house and being able to kind of set things up. Um, for example, like we plan on essentially having a a room, like a three-walled room off to the side with bookcases on all the walls. You know, things that I can potentially mount camera booms to and mic booms to that are out of camera shot to be able to actually potentially do that and stream TBA stuff from my location, which at that point potentially increases TBA by, I don't know, 9 guys. So, or 9 people. So that's something that's on the list, which at that point makes the extra life stuff even bigger and even more, and especially knowing my group, even more ridiculous.
Well, then that is certainly answer, but then that we basically have ran out of time. So so then that for just me that I would just like to just thank you Knox for basically doing that this interview kind of like early on like a Sunday morning and stuff. That if that you have any kind of closing remarks, things to plug, that this would be the time to do so.
Watch more TBA. Uh, uh, we have socials. Watch our stream on Monday, and Emily will tell you what they are.
Fair enough, fair enough. And then it's just basically that you can catch us off on YouTube at a team bonus action, Twitter at bonus underscore at bonus_team, and then that we also have a Facebook group that we are pretty active if that you want to ask us any questions and stuff. Well, but I have been Ninja Spencer, and that this has been another TBA interview. And since that Knox is here,
don't let your meatloaf.
Thank you much, everybody. Comment, like, subscribe. See y'all later. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.